Welcome, Coach. We appreciate having you with us here today.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. Appreciate you guys inviting me, and excited to chop it up and talk some sports and talk some community.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So how about we just jump right into it? We're heading back to school. This is like your 5th season with Collegiate.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah.
So what are your expectations for this season, and just share with us your thoughts?
Yeah. Going into my 6th year, finishing my 5th year, of course. Just wanted to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
To be safe. We have a chance. We did not have a season last year, of course, due to to COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and so anything we get, we're fortunate to have.
Mm-hmm.
But on the court, we got an experienced team. As far as a lot of returners, young men, of course, not playing last year,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of guys who've been on the varsity level since sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're 2 or 3 deep at every position. Hopefully, knock on wood, we can stay healthy. But we're 2 or 3 deep, which is, that's pretty rare for high school basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a chance to be pretty good. Our games at Collegiate are free, so people please come out and support. Once season starts in November, but looking forward to it. We're a defensive-minded team. That's been the case ever since I've been there. Our motto is culture wins, so we've got a strong culture in place. We do lose the player of the year, in my opinion, the player of the year, if we would have had a season or had a chance to be player of the year, which is Mac McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
Mac McDonald is now at the Naval Academy Patriot League. He was the conference leading scorer the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So, we are losing a big void that somebody will have to fill. But however, those young men, again, culture, you pass that on so they know what to expect. So, again, hopefully we can stay safe, stay healthy. It's a great league. Trinity, St. Christopher's, Woodbury, Stab, Fork Union, high-level basketball at the Division I private school level. So, we got to be ready, got to be prepared, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you mentioned safety. That was, the first thing you touched on, which is definitely important as we're dealing, with COVID. Are there any games on your schedule that were canceled due to, whether or not those schools were still uncomfortable playing games? Are there any restrictions? You mentioned that the games are free. Are there any restrictions or requirements for those that come, like are masks required and things like that?
So I am, like my mentor says, don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
I'm taking it one step, one day, not even one game at a time.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going back to school with masks.
Okay.
So a lot can change from now until November. But the good sign is that, of course, football started, field hockey started, cross country started, volleyball started. So there is some positive momentum there. But as of right now, we really don't know.
Yeah.
But I hope to, I would assume there will be some kind of mask wearing, whether that's players or fans. But whatever we got to do to be safe, whatever we got to do to get on the court, again, we're just fortunate and hope that can happen.
Definitely.
So, Coach, we talk a lot about and unashamed, some of our core values as far as shedding light on some of the talent in the community and kind of just, putting the emphasis on the REA area, because I feel like, in my opinion, it's overlooked compared to other areas that you might see. So, speaking of values, and I know you mentioned like some of your expectations rather for your team in the upcoming season. What are some of your personal coaching values that you relate to your team or that you have and reason you've been so successful thus far?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm a big Richmond guy. Again, with being a former player here and playing AAU way back in the day and all that, and of course running Team Richmond now. And I do agree that people get overlooked here, I feel. And then being a former college coach as well, people will come from come from the north and just skip down and go straight down south and just skip through Richmond, whether that's football, basketball, whatever sport. And then people from the south will just keep straight and just go straight to DC, go to the DMV, and then people will curve over. There's nothing wrong with it. Great players come from that area, but they'll just shoot over to the 757. So,
Definitely.
So it is a place that's overlooked. So really, really pride, of what we bring here and the value of Richmond, but more specifically, just the core values of teamwork, and then I've had 6 camps this year, whether it was Collegiate, Team Richmond, Tyrese Rice, TBT, MVP, one of the best players I just ever coached. But those values of being selfless, and then I ask guys at camp, and I always ask my players, would you want to play with you? Like so very real with self-accountability. I'm the same way as a coach. After if I call a bad timeout, if I made a bad coaching adjustment, I'm always going to start with me first. So always starting with you first. If there's a mistake or whatever you're doing, working hard and all that, I think that's been a good value that's been able to help through the years. And then also just being extremely selfless in this. The USA basketball, that was something I volunteered for. Team Richmond, I volunteered my time. My mentoring programs, things like that. So being selfless, but then also being a role model. And it's easy to talk it, but it's very, very difficult to walk it and live it. Yeah. So if that answers that question.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Talking the talk and walking the walk.
Yeah. And I think, speaking of being selfless, and you mentioned volunteering and doing things here in Richmond, the fact that you're part of the executive board of the 804 Coaches for Change are things that you do here within the community. So can you share with us some of what you do there, and what you guys done this summer, and just different events that you may have coming up?
No, that's great. It is a great platform for it. The 804 Coaches for Change is for all coaches, but basketball has kind of been a vehicle to use the platform to kind of move forward with it. But started with the George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, and we had a peaceful protest at the Arthur Ashe statue. Again, not my idea, but just a part of the team. Coach Darrell Watts, the head coach at Armstrong, our president, came together with a bunch of guys. Stephen Lewis, assistant athletic director and varsity assistant at St. Chris, and Chris. Chris, my man, I'm drawing a blank on Chris's last name. He's gonna kill me, but Chris is the director of Virginia Havoc. So two AAU guys coming together, and then work together for the kids, and then several other people. But we kicked it off with a peaceful protest. We had Jason Williford, the associate head coach, University of Virginia, Mike Rose, head coach of ECU. We did Lieutenant Governor speak, and it all was just a voice for our young people, and then doing it peacefully, bring our community together, bringing social justice, awareness to that, some things that we can do better as a people for us all. We're all Americans, we're all Virginians, all that, and then also putting the light on people who are in need or underprivileged, and definitely in our minority community. So that's been great, but we didn't want to be one of those programs that just started something and talked a good game but didn't walk the walk. And so we've been able to, Richmond, it's been tough. All inner cities have been tough, especially for Richmond. With them not going to school physically. So what we did is we started to have community nights, and we had community nights at the Boys and Girls Salvation Army Girls Club in Churchill, and we fed the kids, had a DJ, you had to wear a mask. We did that for probably about 6 months, Friday night, so that was very, very successful. We also had Zooms. We had a Dr. King Zoom. We had a Black History Zoom. And just bringing people together, black, white, green, blue, it doesn't matter, female, male. And so it's been really, really positive, and we're continuing with some more ideas. We were out in the community yesterday. Yesterday we were out in Creighton Court and Wickham Court. We were out helping out with some book bag drives just to support and be a voice in the community. And so that was good. And then upcoming, we have a big tournament. They used to have the Richmond Time-Dispatch tournament here for years, very successful tournament, which unfortunately ended. It was one of the best high school tournaments in town for boys and girls. And we saw a void there and saw opportunity. And so the 804 Coaches for Change, it's in the working. We don't have the official name, but it's going to be community something. But we are, during that holiday time of December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, we're going to have a showcase. And it's not about the best teams in the area, it's about the teams in the area who wanted to participate. And it'll be an event to bring the community together. We're going to have a dinner on that 21st, 22nd, the women are going to play, the girls, and then on 23rd, the boys are going to play. And so that's one of the big events that we're going to do. And man, we need more help, more support. We hope this show is going to air from there, and so it's going to be great. And we got the Richmond Police Department involved. We got a lot of other nonprofits. We're going to give some scholarship away. We're going to give some bicycles away. We're just going to bring people together. So didn't mean to go on and on about
No,
that.
no,
Just
no,
passionate.
no.
So that's
You know, I actually salute you for all that you do, you know, in the community, and that's why when we were thinking about guests, you know, that since we're focusing, we place a lot of focus, you know, here locally in Richmond, and you were like one of the first names that popped in my head, you know, just because of everything that you do in the community, and I've reached out to you like. I personally would want to get more involved.
Yes.
You know, my schedule doesn't always allow it, but
I
I definitely do want to get more involved with the Coaches for Change and just whatever else you have going on. But you know, we salute you for actually being out there, doing the works, as opposed to, as you mentioned earlier, just kind of saying what you're going to do. You're out there, you know, on the grounds doing it. So we definitely appreciate everything that you're doing, and we salute you. And whatever we can do to support, you know, we'll definitely do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's a lady. She runs a program called Befriend. I'm wearing one of her bracelets here. Got Compassion, just bringing people together. Molly Reinhardt, and she comes to a lot of our community stuff. And she sent me something, a book she was reading, a chapter, and she sent it yesterday after we were at the community event. She said, "Just show up." And she said, "I just want to salute you for showing up," and that's it. And you know, one of my assistant coaches at Collegiate, you know, after every practice or everything, he said, "You know, you're here, you're here." So I mean, a lot of just doing things in life, whether it's on and off the court, on and off the field, is just showing up. You know what I mean? Y'all gave me this opportunity, and I showed up.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. How can somebody support, or how could somebody go about being more involved or giving back?
Yeah, please reach out, 804 Coaches for Change. We're on social media, our website, and then also, of course, on Instagram and IG. And Dale Harris, again, I'm not hard to find. Coach Darrell Watts at Armstrong, not hard to find. Coach Stephen Lewis at St. Chris, not hard to find. So we're visible, we're out there, and again, we want more coaches. Like, this is just basketball just took the lead, but we want, you know. Again, we start off with some college coaches speaking, but we can have association coaches, youth league coaches, AAU coaches, like field hockey, lacrosse, baseball, basketball, like Coaches for Change. That's a big, there's a big broad, you know, landscape to that.
And hopefully our platform will be able to assist with that, because one of the things, like I mentioned, you are our first guest, but one of the things that is important to us is to highlight the talent here in RVA. Not just basketball, every sport, you know, and that's going to be, you know, local athletes that are currently playing, local athletes that have played in the past, coaches, you know, whether or not it's baseball or lacrosse or soccer or football or basketball. So if we can use this platform to highlight some of that, we should definitely be able to try to bring some of these coaches together. So there may be opportunity for us to work together.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's also important for our young people, to get in front of the camera, for our young people to have conversations. You know, I always say, I'm big with mentors. I'm huge with mentors. I'm really blessed to have that. I probably have 6 different mentors. Some basketball, some not basketball. But one of my mentors always says, you know, you can't text or tweet your way through a screen or the defense, you know, and meaning this generation is so social media driven. You know, they can Instagram, they can Snapchat, they can TikTok. But can they have a conversation here? You know, can they have dialogue? Because, like, that's what makes the world go around. So you guys having this platform and wanting to have young people here, you know, salute to you guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Coach Harris. So a couple of weeks ago, Antwain and I talked about some things that were going on in the NBA, and there were some things we agreed on, some things we didn't agree on. So obviously, the off season in basketball is well underway. It's almost coming to an end. I mean, I think they did the Summer League this past month, and so there were some changes, there were some trades, there were some acquisitions from a few clubs. Of the changes, of the acquisitions that have happened so far this offseason, what things or what signings have stood out for you?
Oh, man. A lot. Actually, I'm going to tie in. So, local guy, again, one of the best players I ever coached, Tyrese Rice, and I run his camps. And he won the TBT tournament where I was at Dayton with him at the championship game. And one thing, you know, they have that different ending, that Elam ending, where they like add 8 points and they cut the time off. And so you have to get a defensive stop. And anyway, the reason I'm tying that into, like, I think with all these trades, I always look into the postseason because it becomes a half-court game. And so watching that with, professional players, and, it comes down to where you got to get a defensive stop or the game slows down, And so I look at these trades, and, a lot of people probably are not going to go here, but I really like what Miami did.
Okay.
I like what Miami did, and reason being, one, Pat Riley knows what he's doing. Pat Riley has put it together before and has been successful, and he just doesn't go after everybody. And then also, Spoelstra is a championship coach, so you already got some DNA proven there. Yeah, but they just brought in tough people, and so now hopefully Oladipo is going to come back healthy. They got Kyle Lowry. He's already won. He's a proven winner. Jimmy Butler. He's tough, right? They kept both of their shooters. Bam is now just won a gold medal, and so I like the dynamic. Quiet is kept. I'm an under the radar guy. I'm an underdog guy. Like, that's what I like. I think Richmond's an underdog city. We talk about, So I like what the Miami Heat have done as far as just toughness, because again, that game is going to slow down in the half court. That's what it did in the postseason. The postseason, Phoenix, they won the first 2 games because they were able to get out and run. Yeah. Then it slowed down, and Milwaukee just pounded into Giannis. It became a half-court game. Yeah. Phoenix couldn't play the half-court game. They weren't getting they went one-on-one iso ball to Booker and all that. But anyway, so I really like what Miami's done. Of course, the Lakers are the Lakers. It's just tremendous.
Absolutely.
I'm a big Russ fan. I think Russ will have a chip on his shoulder. But then again, I'm looking when the game slows down.
What's he going to do?
Now we're in a half court. So what does Russ do when LeBron has the ball in the post? Russ is out there for a shot. AD's out there. I just think they're really clogged. But they got plenty of time to put it together. Yeah. But if you ask me, that's the under the radar. And I'm not a Heat fan. Yeah. I like to go to Miami. We all do. I'm a Dolphins fan. Okay. Yeah. We're evaluating Tua right now. But yeah, I like what Miami did. I like Chris Paul's loyalty, staying home with him and Book. And then now I'll end with this. Like, now if the Nets can stay healthy, the Nets are the Nets. Yeah, it's just
So it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter
what Miami done.
So am I hearing from you? Like, and again, we're in August. It's a long way till June. The season hasn't even started yet. It's safe to say that a healthy Nets and a healthy Lakers team would be the favorites to meet in the NBA Finals.
No question.
Okay.
No question. No, that's no brainer. That's what Vegas says. That's what Caesar says.
So let me ask you a quick question, which you talked about things under the radar. How key do you think the Patty Mills signing is for the Nets?
Huge, because he just keeps it going. He just keeps it going. Like, it's just, people don't understand too, man. Those you can get beat. Here's the backup's job, right? So the backup's job is either to increase the lead, right? Maintain the lead, or try to go into the lead, but not expand, not make that lead, make that gap widen, And Patty Mills is a pro, man. That guy, he won in San Antonio. You saw what he did with Australia in the Olympics, and that guy's really good, man. So I love what they're doing to keep going. But again, I'm going back to, of course, Giannis. The guy at the Bucks did a good job. Yeah. Budenholzer did a good job. But championship pedigree now. You know what I mean? You're gonna be playing chess once we get to. These players are so great. Yeah. These coaches are gonna have to play chess, and who's gonna be able to push the right buttons. Monty Williams, as great as he was, really good. Monty was great the whole playoffs, but he didn't push the right buttons. Once we got into that half court situation, right?
Because he left Ayton 1-on-1, and Ayton's a talent, but he's still too young, I think, to have the responsibility to match up with Giannis 1-on-1, right? In the finals. I just think you put too much pressure on him.
Giannis is not going to score 50 points going right and going to the hole every time. They didn't make him go left once. And again, I'm no NBA coach, but they didn't make him go left once. Go double him early. It just. Yeah. But it came to him so easy the first 2 games. Yeah. But anyway, I think everybody will be looking forward to that Brooklyn and Lakers. And with Russ, And there's some personal stuff on that too.
Talking about a chip, yes sir.
That's gonna be interesting because with LeBron and Russ on the Lakers and KD and and Kyrie.
Yeah.
So there's like bad blood. I don't want to say bad blood, but there's
it's bad blood. We want to see that. No, we want to see the Jordan versus Isaiah. We want to see Barkley versus Jordan. We don't want to see this nice guy stuff, man. No, man.
But the key, for me with the Nets, the key is Harden. I don't think that anybody has an answer for Harden's all around game when he has those weapons around him.
Yeah.
So. I'm a Nets guy. Like I'm a
Nets
KD guy, honestly. But
I thought you was a Knicks guy.
No, I was never a Knicks guy.
Okay.
I was never a Knicks guy.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I was a Jordan guy growing up. I'm from New York, but I was a Jordan guy growing up. I was never a Knicks guy. Never a Knicks guy. Okay. But before I did want to. You mentioned Tyrese Rice. Shout out to Tyrese Rice, and maybe we can get him on here one of these days.
Definitely.
But I did see it was a highlight. It might even been on SportsCenter. Him come up with the big steal at the end of the game. You know, so shout out to Tyrese Rice, and we talked about defense and making a stop. We caught that clip on SportsCenter, so shout out to you.
Yeah. No,
so.
he studied the guy's move, and he knew that guy was going to cross over. His hand was right there. Stole it, won the game, and of course they won $1 million. So that was awesome.
Yeah. $1 million steal there.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I heard you say you were a Miami Dolphins fan.
Yes.
Okay, so let's switch gears.
Loyal.
Let's switch gears. So on last week's episode, Antwain and I kind of recapped Week 1's preseason activities, and we kind of shed light on some of the rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks who looking to make the leap either from college to the pros or their second year or third year in the NFL. So almost 2 weeks complete. What things have you seen from, not just quarterbacks, but some of the teams now with folks who are, going into another week, and it's only 3 preseason games this year, so there's only one more week essentially of preseason before we get ready for the real action. But what have been your observations so far this preseason?
Man, it's so tough, man, because we live in such a instant gratification society. You know what I mean? We're instant success, and Aaron Rodgers was able to sit on the bench for a year and groom himself. It's just so crazy, man. But same thing, Tom Brady and all that. But Mahomes
didn't start right away.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. They're of course they're going to throw Trevor Lawrence into the fire. Jacksonville is going to be bad. It's just a fact. But Tua, if he can stay healthy, again back to that health piece, I think they're a great coach, Coach Flores, and I love what Miami's doing. But it's a tough division because again Buffalo's just wow with what they're doing. But I really like
it's a 2-team division.
This is 2-team division. Yeah. Well, I'm back to another rookie. I'm just always careful with so much pressure on these young guys early. And then also what happens when the young guys get instant success early, then the bar is set so high, like RG3, so I'm always just so scared of that. The kid they got for the Jets, they paid him all that money. I'm drawing a blank on his name, the kid from BYU, the quarterback.
Zach Wilson.
They love him. Like he's the savior, you know what I mean? But what's different from the boy y'all just had that was there and they just, they traded for him? Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? What's the difference? So anyway, but the evaluations are, you love Fields, but Fields is putting that instant excitement. Let's just face it, that's a 2-team race. There's Green Bay and Minnesota. The Bears ain't for real. Yeah. I mean, let's keep it real. The coach is fighting for his job. They were trying to get him out there last year. Now do you pay Fields? And the coach is talking about he's going to start Dalton. And I mean, it's just so. Anyway, I probably didn't answer specifically, but it's just so much pressure on these young quarterbacks. But I love Fields. I think you're a Lance guy.
Yeah, a little bit. 80 yards, second pass attempt.
I'm leery. I respect them. Love, the Joe Flacco's of the world. Steve McNair back in the day, all that. But I'm just leery of these small college guys. I just think it'll take a little bit more time for them. Because my man Wentz, again, Wentz had success early.
Yeah.
Now Wentz might be a year or two, he's out of the league.
Yeah.
It's not forgiving.
But you know what's interesting? We talked about that.
We did.
You know, we talked about because we were talking about the SEC and Alabama.
Prepares you, man.
Yeah, exactly. Whether or not there is an advantage to playing in those conferences when you come out to the NFL, and if there's a bigger transition. So, you know, I definitely agree.
Like the speed of the game. You know, I mean, let's just face it. If you play in the SEC, or even some of the Big Ten, you know, with Ohio State and all that, you know, you're playing pros. So the speed of the game, and that's no disrespect. Again, I love the underdog, but coming from North Dakota State, like that, it's going to take you a year or two to adjust. It took Mahomes coming from Texas Tech, you know, Baker Mayfield. So anyway, but yeah, I'm excited. This is a great rookie class with all these quarterbacks. So it's exciting to see what they're going to do. Yeah. I feel sorry for Trevor Lawrence. He gonna get beat up.
He gonna get
beat up.
Duval.
He gonna get beat up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that, man. I would agree with you, and I think that looking back on our takes, it was very similar. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement. And to piggyback on like some of the smaller school guys, I mean, any prospect from a smaller school is obviously going to have a lot more to prove. I think it's just the upside thing because we have seen guys from smaller schools at other positions succeed in the NFL.
No question.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how those guys come along. And, you know, I can't wait. I'm just so glad to get football back, man, and get fans in the stands. Hopefully.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
So as a Miami fan, before we, all right, so we talked about it being a two-team division.
Right.
So how do you feel about Tom Brady leaving? Like, is he like, are you like grateful that things didn't work out so that it opened it up? Because for decades, it's been a one-team division.
No, man, it's still, you know, I'm a Star Wars guy, so it's still the evil empire, man. It's still Darth Vader up there, Belichick, and, you know, the owner and all that. So, no, man, I respect Tom. He's one of the best, of course. You mean, what can you say about him, especially at his age and what he's doing? But I was okay with that. Yeah, like it wasn't a big deal. Like everything goes through New England. Yeah. You know, again, that's just how much respect for Belichick and their system, Kraft. Like they know what they're doing. They got a system. Yeah. You know, just like, you know, Pat Riley and the Heat. They got a system. Like, you know, they're going to get it right. You know, so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot about the organization itself.
The organization itself. Yeah. A lot of these organizations have been successful. They just don't miss. You know, I mean, the Lakers. They're gonna figure like how long do we think the Lakers are gonna be bad? You know, I mean, Derek Fisher was the coach. No, he wasn't right. Magic was the coach. Wasn't right. Like, you know, these power organizations like that, the Yankees. They're gonna find a way.
Yeah, they'll figure it out
to get relevant.
Yeah, and everybody wants to go there. Like if you think about it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to go there. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting because even in New England, they have their quarterback battle. You know, with Jones. And Cam. So that's going to be.
I like to see Cam do well. Man. I'm sure Cam has that chip on his shoulder. Yeah. Of something to prove too. But
battling injuries.
Yeah. I think people forget how good Cam really was when he was at his peak. When he won
MVP. Yeah.
He almost won a Super Bowl. Like I think a lot of times people forget that. Like obviously he's not what he was, but the dude still can play. And remember last year, like for a while, it took him a little while to even sign, and I'm thinking to myself, like how?
Right.
Yeah. Like how, you know, because we've seen worse quarterbacks on teams before, and it just really makes you think about the dynamic in the NFL, like with these owners and, you know, some of these organizations are looking for. But Cam can still ball. You're not going to tell me, like no one's going to tell me even a year or two from now that Cam at least doesn't deserve a backup job in the NFL. So it's going to be interesting to see how their quarterback battle. But I mean, that Mac Jones guy against the SEC, Alabama, 13 starts. But I mean, from what they're saying, he's a very humble young man, and so it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to that Patriot way, and you know, seeing if he can overcome
the preparation. So I mean, again, that's. You know, Cam put Auburn on his back.
Yeah.
You know, won a national championship.
SEC.
He was ready. Yep.
He was ready.
Yeah. But I think that Jones is in the perfect situation because he's not, you know, he doesn't have a cannon for an arm. I don't want to say he's a game manager, but in New England, kind of like with Brady, the system is going to carry you along until you develop enough to be able to open up.
So did Brady was Brady the system? Or cause help me understand that.
No. When Brady first came on board,
they were winning.
Yeah, they were winning
Super Bowls.
No, they hadn't won Super Bowls yet.
They
were winning.
I think it was a system.
They had
Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Bledsoe, right.
So they were winning.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady's a winner.
Yeah.
Like he kind of put him over the edge. But Tom Brady, he's a champion. And I'm the biggest Tom Brady. I think he's the GOAT.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the first couple of seasons, the first couple of the years, the team, the overall team, and Belichick's coaching carried them to a lot of their wins. Mm-hmm. Tom just didn't make mistakes. Like Tom, didn't lose the game. Mm-hmm. But it gave Tom time to develop, to become the leader, and to develop his skills where now he was able to win the games, as opposed to just being a part. So we kind of talked about that with some of these younger quarterbacks that are just going to be thrown in there.
And I love that word, I think, right there, system. Mm-hmm. And that's probably too, so many factors, but system, and then giving you time to develop. Like I like Trevor Lawrence. He was awesome at Clemson, but he doesn't have time to develop. Mm-hmm. There's no system in place for him. There's no, there was a system in place for Brady. Mm-hmm. And I think that system piece is so, it's just the right fit. What's the guy in Green Bay?
Jordan Love.
Jordan, like the system.
No A-Rod.
Right, yeah.
Bad man.
Yeah, that's a bad man. He's the best.
Yeah. All right, man. Before we go to our last pick, I do want to give a little kudos. It came out this week that the Atlanta Falcons, we're talking football, the first team in the NFL to be 100% vaccinated. Now, I know everyone has their personal stance on, the vaccine, and we're not going to discuss really too much about that, but just give kudos to those guys. I know we did talk, it was one of our takes a couple of episodes ago where we talked about like teams possibly being forced to forfeit a game if a certain number of players went into the COVID protocol. So kudos to the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, what better way we talked about walking the walk than to say like, all right, and I'm sure there were guys on that team who had questions about the vaccine, as many people do, but those guys came together as a team and said, we don't want to lose this season. We want to be here for one another. And so they made a together choice and decided that, we're going to get vaccinated as a team. So all the coaches, all the players are all vaccinated. So they're the first team, I think, in football, but professional sports in general, just to take care of that obligation, that responsibility.
100%.
So 100% to the Atlanta Falcons.
That's interesting because Atlanta never really shut down. Like the city of Atlanta never really shut down. So for their players and the team to have done that speaks highly of their commitment to safety in each other. Because I'm sure there's some people that may have been on the fence.
No question.
But
whatever it is to be safe in the play.
Yeah.
Just keep it as simple as that.
Exactly.
Making a statement. So kudos to those guys. All right. And so for our final take today, we are going to discuss Miss Sha'Carri Richardson, USA track star. Before we do that, I want to play a small clip from her post-race interview yesterday so that we can kind of dive into what happened there.
This is my race. I'm not done. You know what I'm capable of. Count me out if you want to. Talk all the shit you want. Because I'm here to stay. I'm not done. I'm the 6th fastest woman in this game ever. And can't nobody ever take that from me.
All right. So takes, comments, thoughts. I'm
gonna go last on that.
You go last? Okay.
On that one.
All right. Well, I'll start off. This is what I'll say. The personality. I love it. The competitor, obviously, to update some of you all who may not be familiar with Sha'Carri Richardson's situation, she was the Olympian who pre-qualified for Tokyo, and then maybe a week or two before the actual games was suspended for 30 days for a positive marijuana test result that happened, I believe, a couple of weeks before the actual games. She took her suspension, had some things to say as far as her being able to bounce back, and so I think she had a lot of support initially with her being able to compete and continue on her career, which I think she's like 21 years old. And so yesterday, so she wasn't able to compete at Tokyo, and then yesterday they had a competition. Antwain, remind me the name of the competition? I always forget. It was a post-Olympic competition that was held. It was like a championship series type event where a lot of the names who were there in the Olympics were actually there competing, which was surprising to me because it's like the Olympics just finished, and for me as like a competitor, I'm like, it made me happy because like the three I'm just gonna say the three Jamaican track stars were there and they competed.
Yeah.
And so to fast forward, in that event there were 9 total competitors, and Sha'Carri of 9 finished 9th. And so that interview that you heard was a small part of. She did, I think, a couple of different interviews after the race. There's a link on YouTube if you want to see the full interview, because there's more. That was just a small tidbit. That's the one that's going viral with her saying those raw emotions kind of kicked in, and she was just saying like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. I'll be back. I'm not going anywhere. So for me, I love to see her avenge her loss. I'd love to see her be forced to be reckoned with for years to come. But with that energy she brings, and this is with any sport, this is with any athlete from any country, you gotta match results. Now I don't know how much of her preparation went into play, because like I said, the other competitors did, I believe all of them competed in Tokyo, whereas she didn't have that same advantage, if you will. But again, on that stage, when you're that, I'm gonna say boisterous, respectfully, you've got to show up. And I mean, to be 9th of 9, take a moment, humble yourself, get back in the lab. Again, and that's me. That's not me saying I'm not supporting her. I'd love to see her come back and do another interview in a couple of months to whatever, and just say like, I told y'all. So I'm rooting her on. But that was a bit surprising to see her, coming dead last, and then some of the remarks she had after. Obviously, I let people make their own judgment based on what she was saying. So if anything, for me, I'm kind of shocked that she came in last, but not because these are world athletes. I mean, I couldn't beat any of them, but yeah, I think
you're not
shocked
that fast.
But
nah, it was the 2021 Prefontaine Classic.
Prefontaine,
yeah, that's what it was.
Coach Ayers, what you think,
man? It's a loaded one right here. I'm gonna try to drop a lot of knowledge here. I think by what we started to show off with, a lot of our young people do too much talking and not enough walking. And then don't get too far ahead of yourself. It's another big thing one of my mentors shares, and I think Mike Tyson said everybody has a plan until they get knocked in the,
knocked out.
Till you get knocked out. She got knocked out. I always tell my players, don't respond to emotion with emotion. Usually when you do that, nothing good happens. If I go out here and if somebody cuts in front of me tomorrow, a car, and I road rage, I respond back like that. That's an emotional decision, So I think, and then also, again, nobody's perfect by any means. I'm not judging the young lady at all, but you're a role model. You're a role model. You did carry that Olympic badge. You are a talented athlete. You're super blessed, super gifted. Our young people are watching. So and I'm sure they'll learn from that. She'll learn from that. And then, I think the last thing is just go do it. And I tell you this, I always tell my players, never go to your coach and say, I have to get in shape. You're not serious about your craft. You're not serious about your craft. And I mean, anything can happen. But again, I didn't watch it, but for her to be 9th to one of the best in the world to 9th, somewhere you have not been working on your craft. Yeah, 7th, okay, right. 5th, okay, bad day, right. 4th, okay, but almost dead last.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't even close.
It wasn't close.
Come on,
like she was way behind everybody.
Again,
she looked like Antwain.
And then I'll end with, I'm a big Drake fan. I think he says, he uses explicit. I won't use it. But he says so get it while it's here, boy, because all that don't feel the same next year. So you better get it while you got it now.
Yeah.
Don't think, and again, it's just like NFL, it stands for not for long.
Yep.
So you better get it, and just take your craft serious. So anyway, I hope the young lady learns from it. She's super talented. But again, young people are watching. Walk the walk, don't talk the talk, and there's only one Muhammad Ali. So I mean, it just is what it is. Yeah.
So my thought, that particular interview was just raw emotion. She's unfiltered. Anybody that knows her, you either love her or hate her, but she's unfiltered. She's unapologetic. She's not as polished as most people would want our athletes to be.
The tennis girls polish. Osaka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's polished, and she talks about even we talked about like mental health and stuff like. She talks about how some of the timing of the interviews is what bothers her.
Yeah,
like immediately after or whatever.
Yes,
so that's happened immediately after the race.
Yeah.
So she's still in her emotions.
Yes.
There's no excuses. I'm not going to make any excuse for her. Based off of her times in, the pre-trials going to the Olympics, if she wouldn't have improved her time any, she wouldn't have won a gold anyway. So she hasn't run faster than the Jamaicans yet anyway. But if you listen to her, she said that she has the 6th fastest time, ever. She still has that. She can't take that away from her. I think, what we're seeing here is most people that I guess know track, I don't feel had the expectation she was going to win. They're just coming from the Olympics. Like they're in. If we like relate it to basketball, they're in playoff mode.
They're in top condition.
Yeah, they're in playoff mode.
Got you.
So if I'm coming back,
that's a good point.
From injury or layoff, like it wasn't injury, so she could have been training, but she's not training against Olympic competition.
Got you.
So I think a lot of it looked bad, but in track and field, a second is a big deal. Like, so because everything is like split seconds, if you're a second or 2 seconds slower than the next person, it looks way worse than it really is. But I feel like she has a bright future. She probably needs to have the right team around her. Yeah. Have the right like people to keep her focused.
No question.
It was a bad look, but she didn't shy away from the race. She knew who she was going against. I don't know if she thought she was going to win.
Right.
So my perspective is. She showed up, she raced, she gave her all, she came up short, but she was still confident.
Sure.
It may have come across, arrogant to some people, but to be a champion, you have to have a certain level of arrogance. Like you have to believe that you're the best. So I'm fully supportive of her. She's young. This next generation, I feel like speaks their mind more than athletes or just people like most of us who grew up previous generations where we were taught to have some kind of filter. The same way if we're crossing sports, the same way we look at Kyrie. There was a big deal with him speaking his mind about different issues that were happening off the court and maybe even out of the country. So I just feel like she's just part of the new generation that isn't going to have that same filter. I feel like it was a perfect storm. They caught her right after the race, raw emotion. I'm sure she felt the type of way. She's used to winning. She came in dead last and it wasn't even close. Yeah. So I'm sure.
Didn't know how to respond.
Exactly. She probably felt her back is against the wall and I'm not going to cower to you. I'm going to stand up for myself. So that's kind of how I view that clip because there was a later interview, and there's been later interviews where she gave credit to the Jamaican runners and said how she's a big supporter of women in general and women empowerment. That's not trending, but that kind of speaks to who she is. So I think that she has a bright future. I think that she's raw, uncut, and I love that about her. Shout out to Sha'Carri, and hopefully she gets in the right hands and is able to really perfect her craft and put into work, and we'll see her back in more races and 4 years the Olympics, and
it's a great story. Do your thing.
Yeah, as a country,
it could be a great story.
We're gonna be supporting her.
No question.
No
question.
That's my take on that.
So good luck to her. I think to sum it up, and we'll stop here. Is a lot of we talk about the youth and like this generation. obviously, and this is something that the younger generation will say is like, keep that same energy. She kept that same energy.
Win, lose, or draw,
but
she kept that same energy.
She's telling everyone else, y'all keep that same energy too. So
Yeah.
when I come back and I'm back and I'm winning, you remember I'm watching y'all. So good luck to Sha'Carri. We wish her well, and hopefully she can get back into the lab, improve her craft, and she's exciting for sure to watch. So we'll see what she does. All right, folks. Well, that wraps up another fine episode of Unashamed Sportscast. We're gonna ask you guys again to please continue to support. You can follow us on IG at Unashamed Sportscast. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Unashamed Sports Podcast. Coach Dale, we want to thank you again, man, for coming on, man. It was a pleasure to have you. And we wish you well your upcoming season in Collegiate, and wish you the best with giving back to the community and continue to do the thing that you're doing out here in the Richmond, Virginia community, man. So thank you. Hey Swizzle, any last words?
Yeah, no, just appreciate the support from everybody. Continue to like, share, follow, whatever social media, whatever platforms you guys are on. We appreciate the support. Again, Del, appreciate you coming out,
Thank you.
sharing your insight, sharing some of the things that you have going on in the community. Yeah, we appreciate having you. Is there anything else that you want to kind of plug before we wrap up?
And everybody stay safe and just go help somebody. Yeah, remain selfless. Yeah.
Well, that's all, folks. Subscribe next week. Got another banging episode for you. Until then, be safe, be blessed. Peace.
Peace.